Heroes go whoosh. Hey guys, Max from Baka Burrito here, and today on Breakfast Burrito, I'm talking about why I got into YuGiOh. I know normally Devin does the solo YuGiOh content on Baka Burrito, but unfortunately he's a little preoccupied with work. His job is making him work a ridiculous amount of hours, and he just doesn't have time to record this week, so I'm taking control. So let's give a shout out to Devin. Hope he's doing well with delivering 1,000,000 packages. And hopefully he can get back with us soon and we'll be back to a normal YuGiOh content real soon. Anyway guys, today we're going to be doing like a quick simple video about why I got into YuGiOh, my favorite YuGiOh decks, and what I wish I learned and knew about before when I first got into YuGiOh. And I guess we'll start off with like how I originally got into YuGiOh, which is it started really in middle school. I was like a young, naive YuGiOh player thinking that, oh, this is such a fun game. Like, it's so simple. Like, I just have to have a bigger monster attack a weaker monster, and I win. Max in middle school didn't understand much about YuGiOh. He just liked the TV show and thought it was really cool. And I really got into it, though, by watching YuGiOh Duelist Kingdom and Battle City and YuGiOh GX. Those were my favorite shows growing up. And eventually, you know, as every like middle schooler does, like they eventually phase out of like a fad. Like I thought YuGiOh was just gonna be a fad for me, and it phased out. And that was until I ended up actually going to college, where my roommate, and I were talking about like, oh man, do you remember YuGiOh? And he's like, yeah, I still have my cards. I'm like, oh, same. And then next thing you know, we both get our YuGiOh cards and like we bring them back to the college dorm room and start playing with each other. And slowly some more of our friends found we played YuGiOh, and they're like, oh, word, I have my cards too. And we started growing a little like YuGiOh community on the college campus. And that's actually where it led to me to eventually meeting Devin, where one of our other friends introduced him to the rest of us. And he's like, oh, I have a warrior deck. And that's when we learned how to actually play competitive YuGiOh, because we just had a bunch of mismatched cards together trying to just swing over each other. Devin had a legitimate deck with what he likes to call synergy. I still don't understand the concept sometimes, unfortunately. But he had a basic warrior deck, and he would wipe the floor with us. And that would lead us to eventually developing our own decks and actually studying and learning about like what was meta and what worked with each other. And that was the start of me actually getting into competitive YuGiOh as a result. But I didn't necessarily learn from Devin originally. I learned from his roommate, whose method of teaching was, I'm going to teach you trial by fire. You're just going to figure it out. Keep getting wrecked, scrub. And that kept happening to me for a long time. Kind of ruined the way I teach now, because I feel like I'm getting some of my aggression out from back then on newer players. So I'm not usually the best teacher as a result of that. But after college, eventually like I did learn how to play YuGiOh the proper way, and I built like a proper hero meta deck when heroes were tier 1, great times. And I would just continue to play YuGiOh like just for fun, you know, casually with Devin and the rest of the guys throughout like the rest of my life at that point. And would go to an occasional tournament or two and, you know, lose to people who actually played this game super seriously. Anyway, that's really how I got into YuGiOh. So we'll go right into like some of my favorite decks right now. And I'm going to really just go through 3 of my current decks that I play with that are my favorite decks. The first one is, if no one can tell, I'm a big hero player. There's a link, will be a link somewhere like over here that will show my hero deck, the deck profile that Devin went over. And the reason I like heroes is because heroes go brr. And that essentially means like you just keep attacking with heroes until you get the W. There is really it's a very simplistic deck if you really think about it. It's really just about bringing out a bunch of like strong monsters, some really nice assist effects that can assist them. And I really just like the simplicity of heroes overall, because I'm a very simple guy and I really enjoy, you know, there's the goal, just get out your best guys, swing, hope for the best, and if they got counters, well, here we are. Or if they have, what I really like about heroes is just the simplicity of it. It's really just, I'm going to fusion shoken my 2 hero monsters are going to make a bigger guy, and we're going to hope that that's enough for me to get the W. Some heroes I like have really unique and interesting effects. One of my favorites is Plasma, who just negates all the effects on the opponent's side of the field and eats one. He's one of my favorite cards. My other favorite hero is definitely Absolute Zero, just because of the trolliness of it. It's like, alright, you kill my Absolute Zero, now your entire board gets wiped. And the other combo I like with Absolute Zero is the play Absolute Zero, use Mass Change to play Acid, blow up the front and back row, and you completely clear out any threat to your board, which I personally love. The second deck that I really like is the Super Quantum deck. It's not a very popular deck, really. Like, it was supposed to be like top tier when it first came out, but it fell apart a little bit because not as many people played it, and with the creation of Link Summoning back then, completely derailed like any potential this deck had at the time. But the whole point of this deck is to get out Great Magnus, and then Great Magnus goes brrr. Great Magnus pretty much just comes out on the board, and he does everything from prevents you from adding cards to hand to not being unaffected by everything except cards that are based off Great Mag that affect specifically Super Quantums, and also can target monsters on the opponent's side of the field and shuffle them back into the deck. The only card that can beat Great Magnus, really, is a Kaiju. And the way Kaijus work is they tribute your opponent's monsters. That's the only way to beat Great Magnus, and I love Great Magnus because if they don't have that Kaiju, I pretty much have shut them completely down. There's nothing they can do against a 3,600 attack point monster, and I just win. Like, there's to say, though, Great Magnus is very difficult to get out, so take from that what you will, but I definitely love the deck. It's just really fun for me to play because it's more of a stun deck until you get the boss monster out, which is a little bit of a different take from what I normally play, but has the same core principle of let me get my big boy out and win the game. And then the last deck I want to talk about, which is one I got into recently, is completely different from the decks I normally play. It's Magical Musketeers, and it's really just a stun control deck. And what I really do like about this deck is its ability to use its monster's effects on the field that don't allow me to activate the trap cards from the hand. And I think that's really cool because now I just have infinite hand traps. I don't have to worry about spell and trap removal because they can't get rid of it from my hand. And it's just great because their effects are based off if I activate a trap card in the spell slot the monster's in front of. So I can get effects and trap card effects all on my opponent's turn, and it makes their lives miserable. What I figured out, especially with Magical Musketeers, it's actually a really great counter to heroes. So whenever I play a heroes play with Magical Musketeers, I know exactly what to negate and what to stun, and it makes them so mad. We have one friend who's using an evil hero deck, and I'll always just shut down any play he has because I know exactly what he's thinking of doing. I know exactly what he wants to play, and I'm just going to prevent him from doing it. And then we're going to go into now why I think things I wish I knew when I first started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! I cannot stress the importance of this. Like, the first thing I did not do well and messed up is read your cards carefully. Yu-Gi-Oh! Players are very strict about rulings and how card effects work. If you mess it up at all, they're going to try and get you DQ'd usually. And I wish I knew that ahead of time because I was pretty laid back. I was just like, oh, I guess this is what the effect does. And Devin and like other people get so annoyed at me for not really like knowing my card effects. So definitely read all your cards carefully and understand what the cards can do and how those effects are applied. The second thing I learned, like I wish I had learned like early on when I first played, is 3-ofs are important. Having 3-ofs of certain cards is necessary for a deck to properly function. When I first started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! I didn't understand that. I thought I just needed 1-ofs of everything, like in the anime, and it didn't work out well, those decks. Those decks lost real fast. Number 3 of important things to know. Don't think the anime applies to the actual card game. You'll learn real fast that this is not going to help you when you actually play competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Or for fun with your friends, because the anime rules do not apply to real life, and you're going to learn that the hard way real fast. The fourth thing was be prepared to spend some money if you're playing a really popular deck or something that's been coming up recently. Like for me as a Heroes player, I've had to learn that the hard way because a lot of the good hero cards in the decks are very expensive. Like, for instance, Liquid right now is $50. Justice Gold and Malicious Bane, Evil Hero Malicious Bane, are both like $200 a piece, and they're ridiculously expensive. Like, that's $450 right there for 3 cards, essentially. So you gotta be ready to really spend money if you want to play a popular deck like Heroes or literally anything that's currently meta. So depending on when you watch this video, that could significantly change. Like Drytron's pretty expensive right now. But yeah, like if you want to play like something a little less popular, I definitely recommend that, especially if you're just starting out. Definitely check out Devin's Zombie World video, which should be right around here. Like I've linked it. His Zombie World deck profile is a very fun deck that's more cost effective. And if you're looking for other cards though that are also like cost efficient, that are good replacements for the really big popular cards right now, check it out right over here. It's going to explain to you some of the cost effective cards you can get that will be very cheap compared to their alternatives. And then the last thing I want to say that I wish I like knew when I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Well, it was more as I kept playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Don't forget to have fun playing this game. At the end of the day, this is just a children's card game, okay? It's not anything serious. Like, yeah, there are big national tournaments, regionals, and everything, but the most important thing, and the reason you should be playing this game is to have fun. Don't forget that. That's the most important thing. If you enjoy messing with other players, like, stunning their plays and making them frustrated, yeah, if that's what makes it fun for you, go right ahead. If you enjoy building big boss monsters and, like, wiping out boards, go for it. If you like defensive decks, if you like offensive decks, whatever, just make sure you enjoy the game. It doesn't matter what you play as long as you enjoy it, I think. And I think that's going to do it here for you for today, guys. This has been Max from Baka Burrito. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and give us a comment telling us how you first got started into Yu-Gi-Oh! And what made you stick with the game, or what made you actually want to quit it. But yeah, like, it's been great talking to you guys. I've been Max. I look forward to talking to you guys next time, and have a good one.